Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. I think we should just have a recap of everything that's going on with Tesla right now and try and focus, as there's been a lot said as of recent. I just want to try and summarize it all up in one video to see if we can establish where we are with the company right now. China's been easy to dismiss and say it's not going great there, but it was due to lockdowns, which are totally out of Tesla's control. Aside from that, this China operation is going exceedingly well. There were over 68,000 vehicles produced in Shanghai just in January alone. And from what we were just being told on the earnings call, it sounds like Shanghai has a lot more potential left than that, especially when it comes back with a vengeance. It would only take 15,000 additional units a month compared to January to hit a 1 million a year run rate. Sure, it looks like we've lost the majority of April in Shanghai, with lockdowns and ramping back up to speed, but there are now all these extra cells, chips and other components that are hopefully available, so that nothing needs to hold back those production lines. It will be very interesting to see the production numbers from China that come out each month this quarter, to see what rate Tesla can really move. We've witnessed in the past Model Ys coming off the production line as quickly as one every 33 seconds or so, which alone is over 80,000 a month with 100% uptime. But we have the Model 3 factory as well. Tesla have a lot of catching up this quarter in China, so it'll be very interesting to see some of the speeds those production lines can work. It will give us a bigger idea as to the level of sandbagging we might have been hearing from Elon. Yeah, we do have a kind of lottery ticket with potential sandbagging. Elon telling us things like a new Model Y will come off the line in Berlin every 45 seconds, whilst the older, much smaller, less advanced Shanghai Model Y factory is producing them at an even faster rate. I mean, it seems unlikely that Berlin would not be able to produce cars as fast as Shanghai. The factory footprint isn't far off twice the size, and when you factor in eventual structural battery packs, front castings and all other advancements, then I think we should expect twice as many Model Ys out of Berlin than what Shanghai is capable of. Call it speculation if you like, but it just seems so obvious. Each new factory is better than the last, more efficient, costs less, etc. And if Berlin is fully ramped up with 4680 cells too, and if Tesla has a permit, then 1 million a year should be attainable for Berlin. And if the 4680 factory is ramped, which could be the end of next year, then this is the production rate I really expect to see come out of Berlin. And we'd expect the same from Texas, or even earlier there. In other words, there is the chance that although 4680 progress is far behind what we hoped, that Tesla are at a run rate of an additional 2 million Model Ys a year by sometime next year. And we were even being sandbagged on the actual Shanghai Model Y factory, being told it would have a capacity of just 200,000 Model Ys a year from Shanghai. I believe that this was based on the actual battery supply available to them at the time. I don't think they initially planned on making standard range Model Ys with LFP batteries. The 4680 cell was taking a lot longer to produce than initially realised too. Then CATL were able to offer a lot more LFP batteries Tesla's way, and they took them up on that. In a sense, I think Tesla did get a little lucky in China, and a lot of their success there can actually be attributed to CATL and their ability to ramp up so much cell production during a time when Tesla were not able to make any massive investments in increasing their own cell output. Tesla are too busy in the middle of their 4680 cell production and have too much invested in that Tesla don't want to expand the 2170 production overly, as it is so inefficient and expensive compared to the 4680 production techniques. Therefore, in the meantime, Tesla will simply take everything CATL can make and place these LFP batteries into their standard range vehicles, resulting in Tesla having a lot more vehicles for sale, as batteries are really the limiting factor here. With all these additional cells available to Tesla, especially with this new CATL LFP fab down the road from Giga Shanghai, well, Tesla can just increase the speed of their existing production lines and can still consume all these batteries available to them. Along with that, moving over to LFP in the Fremont facility for the standard range Model 3 too, in turn feeding up more 2170 cells available to Tesla in Fremont, or potentially Texas or Berlin. Yes, CATL really did hand Tesla a huge lifeline. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it wasn't just luck, and Tesla saw the potential CATL can offer a mile away, and most likely offered CATL some really big contracts if they build more facilities. And I know we hear a lot of statistics in how well the Chinese EV industry is moving, but CATL can't grow big with the Chinese EV customers. For starters, they're possibly all going to go out of business, as they can't make any profit. BYD likely has the most chance, but they have in-house batteries anyway. So CATL got to grow because of Tesla, and vice versa. If it hadn't been for CATL, then Tesla wouldn't be close to what it is today. Tesla needed to increase their battery supply significantly whilst they were still refining the 4680 production line. The future of Tesla is all about the 4680 line, and wow, we're getting so close. We're seeing 4680 cells being made on the line in Texas. Some 4680 vehicles have been sold to some Tesla employees, but it sounds like we're still a while away from ramping up the production and a lot further from where was initially thought on Battery Day. But like I keep saying, this will be such a major breakthrough, and it's a matter of when, not if. As in, it doesn't matter so much if it takes an extra year even. It's the fact Tesla can achieve it is what matters. To have a sustainable future, we needed to have batteries that can be produced feasibly and at scale. The 4680 cell is the first example of showing that can be achieved. From the earnings call, it sounds like it may not be until Q3 we start seeing it ramped up, but by the latest, it could be early Q1 2023. In the meantime, though, we now have 2 large facilities to keep running, very likely running at losses. The production there can be supplemented with some additional 2170 cells, which it sounds like we do have enough available to make some level of vehicles, and that the constraint is just ramping up the production of these vehicle factories, rather than the actual cell production, implying perhaps Tesla do have a reasonable quantity of 2170 cells. I mean, they should, as they're not being used in the standard range vehicles anymore, and they're not being used in megapacks anymore either. But either way, these 2 factories will not have any major growth on the earnings of the company, and eventually the speed of the vehicle production lines will soon exceed the battery supply, which was Elon's concern for growth next year. I think it's China that really held the stock price strong last year. Tesla's stock price definitely got ahead of itself earlier in 2021, surpassing $900 at one stage, but China's growth meant that eventually Tesla properly grew into that stock price. We may see similar patterns again, the stock price jumping ahead perhaps, only to come back down, but it will take the 4680's success to grow into the next level of the stock price. The only way for Tesla to make enough vehicles or batteries for the future of the company or the mission is to perfect the process of mass producing those cells. But even reaching 100 gigawatt hours of production for the 4680 cells, on top of all the other suppliers, will give Tesla enough cells to level the company up to grow into a valuation of around $2,000 to $3,000, even with a reasonable PE ratio. I think with China's continued growth, Fremont consistently producing, then today's stock price is justified just with those 2 factories. China will continue to grow this year. They can consume additional LFP cells for growth. The Super Bull in me thinks that there is a chance that this Berlin and Texas factory can hit closer to 200 gigawatt hours a year, like what was said at Battery Day, and that they could be up to that rate sometime in 2024, which means we're approaching 6 to 7 million vehicles a year, like I said, as early as 2024. There certainly is this possibility. I think the 4680 line will ramp up exponentially, but it's got to get going properly first. There are likely more processes that still require automation, and if Tesla hit that level of production, then the stock price would have gone even crazier, and that's just for the car sales business. Look, I do valuations based on more intrinsic values of Tesla too, like worst case scenarios, and even for those situations, the stock price is still not excessively priced to where we are today. I do other valuations based on slow growth, and those prices look good enough. I mean that even if the stock price didn't double until 2025, would you sell your Tesla shares? Would that look like a bad investment to you? 100% in just over 2.5 years' time? That is still an exceptional return on investment. My point is, we've covered the safe scenarios. They're good to know and make us feel secure in holding Tesla stock, even if that's all that comes from this company. Even if we knew these more bearish scenarios played out, then we'd still hold, as it's still a good return. Therefore, if we know it's still a good return in the more bearish situations, and we don't need to worry about selling, then isn't it more interesting and exciting to talk about what this company could be? What if the 4680 is ramped up earlier? What if Texas has a capacity in excess of 2 million units a year, and instead we got to envision and imagine a much more optimistic future? And if it doesn't happen, you should still be content with just doubling your return. We're all excited about the possibility of what can become of this company, both personally to our net worth and to the actual benefits to humanity and the planet. I like talking about all possibilities and thinking them all through and discussing them further. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.